Kim, dear idea. I actually I bought this cap actually this week, and I quite like it. It's quite cool, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, it's very difficult to get the right bend in a cap. Yeah, it needs to be, because if you get the wrong bend, it can be a bit meh. So, anyways,
first world problems, my love. First world problems.
I know, it really is, isn't it? So anyways, today we're here to talk about mindset, exercise, and changing habits. And interestingly enough, around that, I actually went out and I bought one of these. It's not a torture implement, right? This is fantastic, yeah? And it's actually loaded. If you can see that, it's actually loaded, look, 12 to 23 kgs, right? So what you do is you get down, do some push-ups, and you literally put it behind your back when you're doing push-ups, and it makes the push-ups even harder. So that's the beginning of my kind of torture, really. That and my kettlebell, which really sits on the floor quite a lot of the time.
These things. Sometimes looking at it, maybe we can exercise through osmosis.
Well, it doesn't work really. And then when you do pick it up, it's a killer. Yeah.
That'll happen if you don't pick it up very often.
I'm not going to try and pick it up now. I might drop it. It could be kind of a bit painful, really, to be fair.
Yeah, you see, I don't have a kettlebell. I instead have my little one, who I bench press most days. And she kindly is getting bigger every day, weighing more. So inadvertently, the weights are increasing.
Yeah, it's great when you start doing push-ups and they get on your back. It can be tough. So
yeah, her latest favorite is to, when you're doing sit-ups, is to actually be on your hands under her arms, and she swings over your head while you do a sit-up with her above it. She thinks it's hilarious, spends most of the time going, "Mummy, mummy," again, and I try not to die.
So today, Tyler Cohen Wood is hopefully going to join us. She's not late. We actually invited her at 15:15, so it's all good. We just thought we'd have a little chat right beforehand. So in terms of like mindset, changing habits and that sort of stuff, right? Doesn't it take a certain amount of time before you can actually change a habit?
Yeah, so there's lots of different schools of thought. So it ranges anywhere from 21 times to 90 days. So I think the one thing that is true, whichever methodology you look at, is that the way you change a habit is the same way you created a habit. It's through repetition. It's through continuing to go back. And we watched that amazing video, didn't we, this morning, where they were talking about the fact you just go back and you keep going back. And at the point that your brain realizes you're not giving it a get out of jail free card, you are going to continue to go back and back and back. It actually just catches up and makes the change.
Yeah, that was a Goggins video, and you'd never seen that before. And yeah, he just blows my mind, like just absolutely incredible. And yeah, Garen Kilpatrick, who I know you talked to the other day on Twitter Spaces with me, he actually suggested that I watch Goggins's video, and he just reminded me to kind of go back in and watch it. So if you're kind of feeling demotivated and you need to exercise, then go and look for Goggins on it's Goggins, and go and look for his videos. But beware, they are kind of in your face. Yeah. So it looks like the lovely Tyler Cohen Wood.
Hello, my lovely.
Hi, how are you?
Really good. How are you?
Good. Do you notice something different about me?
You're looking beautiful in pink.
Yeah, pink.
Thank you. Yes, I've decided that I'm going to try to start bringing color into my wardrobe.
I love it. That is so amazing. I spent years being kind of trying to be really corporate. So, my entire work wardrobe was black. And every now and again, if I wanted to throw some color at it, I'd go for charcoal grey or navy. I mean, it wasn't color at all, but it made me feel better. And at the point that I was just like, no, do you know what? Life's too colourful to be that drab. It makes such a difference to your psyche, doesn't it? You put a bright colour on and you can't help but smile.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I feel like I spend so much time trying to cover up flaws. Like I think my arms are swollen or something like that. So I just cover everything up, and I just don't want to do that anymore.
Cool.
It's
you know what
summer.
Yes, it is.
Spring, even though you know it.
You need one of these, Tyler.
Please don't ask.
You can do push-ups. You can do all sorts of things with these, yeah. And actually, if you can't do a chin-up, right, you can take this to the park with you, and you can. It will help you to do chin-ups, right? Isn't that cool? This is my latest toy, yeah.
Sure. So you're trying to force me to do chin-ups all week. Show me how I do them with that.
Well, I haven't experienced that yet, because I'm just doing some chin-ups now.
Why don't you show us?
Right
now. Yeah.
Why don't I don't have a chin-up. The chin-up bar's in the park. One of these days soon, when it's a little bit warmer and drier, I will be in the park when we host one of these. All right.
Showing us all how to do chin-ups, yeah?
No, probably not, actually, to be fair. But we could do some exercises, definitely, because a lot of people, they get stuck. They sit behind their desk, they get a bad back. And I know Tyler does. I know you had a bad shoulder, Kim, which is almost better. So I know loads of exercises for that sort of stuff.
Tai Chi. It's crazy, because no matter how difficult or tough things are, if I just do a little bit of Tai Chi, and there's even just some really like simple things too, and it just slows my mind down and lets me see the bigger picture. It's pretty incredible.
But it's massive, isn't it? If we can kind of just get ourselves out of the moment, because I think sometimes when we're in the moment, it just becomes a bit overwhelming. And when we take ourselves out of the moment, we can suddenly see it for what it is, which is an element within a moment, not the whole thing. And you kind of look at it and go, okay, it's a bad moment. It's not a bad life. It's just it's just something I can get past.
Exactly.
It's true. I don't know. I don't know why, but by slowing down the body's motions, it does really slow down the mind. I won't show you because I don't think I could show it here, but there's just a very simple exercise. It's so easy. You just stand with your feet on the ground and you close your eyes and you just very slowly put all the weight. You start on one of the small toe, you move to the big toe, then you move to the big toe of the other foot, and you just go around in a circle, and you're just putting weight and pressure on just different parts, but you're doing it so slowly. And I'm telling you, it just that is incredible. Your mind just slows down.
I love it. I think anything that we can do to particularly, I sometimes even I want to switch my brain off from its constant attack, and I know Nat, you wanted to switch it off this morning.
Well, we're actually building a website at the moment, Kim and I, and we're having fun with it. We're building that, and we're building a support ticketing system and course.
Wow.
We're building the whole thing, yeah, and so that's kind of exciting, right? So we're basically pushing ourselves using we're trying to be positive. So it's difficult if you find things that you don't enjoy, right? But the thing is that when you look and you find the right tools to use, they really help. If you get the right tools, like that goes for everything in life, right? If you've got a crappy phone, you're going to hate using your phone, right? If you've got a crappy camera, you're not going to like taking pictures. If you got a nasty environment, you're not going to like being at home, right? And that's the same with like building websites, and the same with website builders, and the same with all of these frigging tools that are out there. And that's why you need to talk to people that actually know what the hell they're doing, and they can give you advice around which tools to use and stuff like that. And so we're getting ready for International Coaches Week. Coaching Week or Coaches Week, Kim? Coaching Week, yeah, and that's starting on the 17th of May. So we're just getting ready for that, and we're hosting 5 events during that week, which we're going to be doing, which should be fun, actually. So Tyler, when it comes to, like, I know you got sick a few years ago, right? But like, you're looking really well. So have you kind of changed any of your routine, or kind of what's going on with you at the moment?
Health-wise, things are not great, but mentally, I'm trying to just do some little shifts, like getting dressed and wearing, a nice pink top. Just kind of little things like that, because you can't you can't just sit and wait for something to happen to change things. You have to just do those simple steps. And wearing a pink blouse, getting pink in my hair. I don't know if you can see it, but I have little pink streaks in my hair. Thank you. Thank you. Just like little simple things like that, like getting up in the morning, actually putting on makeup. It all of that stuff just kind of helps you because it makes you feel better.
It puts you back in control, doesn't it? You feel like actually you're moving forward, even if, I think sometimes you've got to just be perhaps a little bit kinder to yourself. I know sometimes when I'm going through things that are just overwhelming, I'll set myself a different goal, and it might not seem like an amazing goal to anybody else, but I'll just go, if I adult for 12 hours, then I've done all right. Because today, that's actually going to feel like success. And as long as I don't think that that's going to be my goal every day, then I can move forward. But on the odd day, just adulting and being able to look after my little girl and making it through the day actually is enough. And you've got to be able to reward yourself for that, haven't you?
Yeah. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. But it's very difficult if we don't actually. Hello, Patras. It's very difficult actually if we don't set goals, right? And we don't actually measure where we are versus where we want to get to, right? And it doesn't matter, like, if you can't even do like 5 push-ups, right? Like it doesn't matter, because you got to start where you are, and that's the same with everything. But the problem I've had in the past is actually just setting unrealistic goals. So, for example, like, if you take a break from the gym and like you may have been pumping loads of weights and you may be really fit, and then you get an injury and then you have to go back, trying to lift the same amount of weight that you were lifting before, or doing the same kind of exercises as you were doing before, would be like insane, right? And that's the same with work, yeah, and trying to do things which are perhaps not in your comfort zone can be really, really hard, right?
Very extremely hard. But you have to. You also can't compare yourself to like a past self. Like in 2019, I could do splits. It was crazy. I was doing Tai Chi like 2-3 times a day, and now it's a struggle to get through a class. But I don't judge myself on it, because I know. Back then, it took me a really long time and a lot of work and a lot of effort to get to that point. So it's something that's possible. You can do it again, but it's just not going to be from here to there instantly.
Yeah, but I think that what I love, Tyler, is the fact that you keep going, you keep doing it and go, I might not be able to do that, but actually, at least I'm going to try and do the things that are in my gift that I can do. Because I think often that's the thing, isn't it? We set ourselves these unrealistic goals. And I do it all the time, which is I'll take my eye off the ball and I'll put on some weight. And then I'll suddenly decide that, I should be able to lose the whole lot in 2 weeks, even though it probably took me 8 months to put it on, and get frustrated with myself and say, well, it's not come off yet. And it's like, well, hold on, it took you 8 months to gain it. It's probably going to take you more than a fortnight to get rid of it. But actually, keep going and keep taking those small steps, and keep going out and exercising, and eventually you'll get there. But you've got to just not give up, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you hear new normal all the time, but I'm not sure that we always understand exactly what that means. It doesn't mean changing things so they go back to how they were. It is that part of your life, that period is over, but it doesn't mean your life is over, and it doesn't mean that you can't find new things that you enjoy doing. I mean, I was a avid equestrian. I had a horse. I was pretty good. And when I got sick, I just couldn't do it anymore. But I found Tai Chi. And that's something that I can do. So you just find other things that you love that sort of replace that other thing.
Yeah, very much so. But I think also these things may change throughout your life. It just depends on the kind of person that you are. Like, you know, I found martial arts when I was kind of, you know, in my just about 20, right? And I've just been doing them since then, yeah. But I think mixing up what you're doing with other types of exercise is really, really important, because if, you know, Kim does all sorts of different exercise. I'm trying to kind of do more walking and stuff. And I think, you know, it's taking inspiration from people that are really, really fit, and maybe not comparing yourself to them, because, you know, if someone runs like 100 miles and you don't run, comparing yourself to them may be just completely crazy, right? But I think sharing that passion for exercise with people who are really into it is really beneficial. It really helps, you know, because they encourage you when you're kind of feeling perhaps a little bit lazy or a little bit tired or whatever. But like, there's a lot to be said for getting out and working out outside. Like, it just makes a big difference. And Kim and I, we're going to start doing regular kind of meetings for our business when we actually go outside for walks. And I realized, like, my headphones, just the microphone was awful. So I went out and bought a new pair of like earphones, and I'm really happy with these, right? Literally, they've got a little blue light there, and you open it up, right? And this light tells you if they're charged. And I can't believe it. Like, it just with one little thing like that, it just can make all the difference to, like, you know, you can go out, listen to podcasts while you're exercising, have a business meeting, you know, like, your office is your phone. That's kind of how I look at things, really.
It's a good way of looking at things.
I think it is changing it up, isn't it? You know, I had a meeting last Friday, actually, and normally I would have panicked and gone, oh, I really should do it here, sat in front of this. But I was catching up with a friend who wanted some advice. So it was, yes, it was work related, but actually I was doing them a favour. And I thought, well, I've not been out for a walk yet, and I don't think they're going to mind. So I plugged my headset in. I moved to, obviously still on Zoom, but did it on my phone and chatted to them while I also went and did a walk. And both of us felt so much better by the end of it, because she had my total focus, so she could just tell me everything that was going on. I was totally focused on her. I came back and went, oh, I actually managed to exercise and help a friend and get my work done and still feel like, you know, I was good and got some fresh air, because too often you kind of sit here looking out that window going, it looks lovely out there. The times I get to go out is when it's pitching it down with rain. And then all you really want to do is run to the car and run back. It's like, come on, here we go.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we relate this to like mindset, right? Like watching this video this morning with you, Kim, I thought you'd get a lot out of it. And this Goggins guy, he's basically like, so who is in control of your mind, right? Like, are you in control of your mind, or is your mind in control of you? It's pretty much kind of what he was saying, right? And like, I totally get that. And it's like, actually, you know, we like being lazy. Like, there's just a thing, like, people like being lazy. Like, it's just the way that we are, right? So I'm trying to like just flip that script and say, well, all right, that's fine, whatever you think, but we're gonna go do this, right? And literally just take the initiative and say, well, no, I don't agree with that. I'm gonna go and do it anyway. And like, I mean, but it's hard. Like, when you've had a break from exercise for a little while, or you've been sick or whatever, you definitely need to be kind to yourself and build up slowly, right? Like, you know, like, certainly when I started Tai Chi like 24 years ago, yeah, like, I started that and I built up slowly. And then eventually, like, you, after a few years or months, depending on where you're at, you can hold postures for a long time. But you don't immediately stand there and do 3 hours Tai Chi in one go, right? And stand there in like awful, torturous poses that like make you want to cry, right? You start off in the beginning, yeah, which is, okay, this is where we're at, and this is what the shape of my body is right now. This is where I'm at right now. And so it's the same in business, yeah? You look at your business and you say, well, okay, so where are the sales coming from? Okay, so how many are we making right now? okay, so where do we want to get to? And then you make a plan, right, Kim? Like we did the other month, you know?
Yeah, well, I think they say that with all things, isn't it? You know, what's important is that you plan the work or plan the activity, and then you work the plan. But actually, you know, if we don't plan, we often fail because we miss out on those things that are, you know, that are really important. I remember at the start of the year coming up with this brilliant brainwave that I was going to be able to start running 5K. Now I couldn't even run a bath, to be fair, without a bit of help. And when I started, so how on earth I thought I was going to run 5K was beside the point. But I didn't have a plan. I just had a great catchphrase. I'm going to run 5K, and I'd not thought about how do I fit that in around running a business, being a single mum, nursery runs, and lockdown. It was ludicrous. It's like, you know, you can't get childcare, you can't get anybody to come help. I can hardly expect my 4.5-year-old to run 5K with me, and you know she's nearly 3 stone. I can't carry her either. So those things weren't going to work. But once I realised that obviously I needed a plan to be able to exercise, and therefore what are the things that I can do that actually would allow me to get fitter from where I was. So we now do a dance app together because she loves it and I love dancing. It takes me back to my childhood. And then we walk to nursery, and then I come back the long way so that I actually get extra exercise in. So we've just amended our day, but actually it involved us being a little bit more planned, because you can't just get up and expect it to all fit, can you? It doesn't work that way.
No. And I think that there's a fine line too, because I know I have the tendency to try to plan, but wait for like the perfect moment to release something or to do a podcast or to start talking to investors, start pitching. And, you know, it's really the past couple of weeks that it's just been like, stop waiting. You have gathered enough information. You have done your research. Just do it. And I actually did 2 pitches this week, and I'm really proud of myself because it was something that I get these mental blocks. It's that whole imposter syndrome thing where it's like, well, you know, what if it's not good enough? Like all of that crazy stuff that just goes into your mind. And finally, I just had to say, mind, shut up. We're going to listen to that other one in there that's saying, just do it. It'll work. Just do it.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you should, because actually what's the worst that can happen? You know, we do wait for these perfect times, and there's no such thing as a perfect time, is there? And you know, there's a Chinese proverb that said that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the next best time was right now. Yes. Because actually we can't wait for the perfect circumstances. We've just got to go out there. Yeah. And I don't think there's a downside. And everyone thinks I'm possibly overly positive in my world, but even, for example, if you go for a job interview, there's no downside, because either you're going to come out of it having got the job, or you're going to come out of it with really clear feedback on what you need to do to get the job next time. And if you view things that way, then actually there is no downside. You don't have to wait for that perfect time, because everything is going to move you forward. And as long as we're moving forward, it's like one of my friends, Carolina, always says that progression beats perfection. Just keep making sure that you're moving forward rather than waiting for that perfect moment, because they rarely exist.
Yeah, very much so. And I think taking the initiative to just learn about things and actually just immerse yourself in that kind of childish curiosity is kind of that's what makes things fun, right? Like I mean, the way that children learn through playing, yeah. If we can embrace that as adults within our exercise regime, for example, and we can find things that we really enjoy, then that becomes like a habit for our lives, right? And, you know, breaking it up over your day, if you can't do more than 15 minutes of exercise in one go, right, then do 15 minutes, right? And then the next day, do 17 minutes, yeah? But there's a lot of thing like, oh, you need to take a day off. It's like, well, there's a lot of conversations around taking days off, and certainly in the Tai Chi world, that you shouldn't be taking a day off. Not as far as I'm concerned. You should train every single day. And I know that is tough when you're sick, right? It can be really tough. But even if you get up and maybe your legs hurt from like the day before, you can do like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, yeah? And I promise you that if you do that time in, day in, day out for months, years, your body is going to thank you, really.
Yeah.
And your brain will as well, because you're freeing your mind, right, from distractions, from this constant chattering of what about this and what about that. And, that's why I exercise, because it keeps my brain clear, which is, good, because then when you want to use your brain, it's ready to kind of take action. Well, mostly working with you, Kim, is tough, I must admit.
Oh no, please. That is not true.
No, it's not. It's fun. I'm really enjoying it, actually. And what's amazing is that you can build up these things in your mind. That's what I've noticed. It's like a couple of days ago, you're like, right, well, we need to build a website. And I'm like, oh no, not another website. And I'm like, okay, you can help me, we'll build it. And but actually, you can build up this thing in your mind of saying, oh, it's really tough, and it's going to take ages, but you're wasting time. You just need to just get on with it. Yeah. Stop that inner conversation of, oh, it's so boring, it's going to take ages, and there are all these problems, and I hate technology. And it's like, look, if you're the only person who can do this, right, which is the same in exercise, yeah, and that's what I have a bee in my bonnet about, really, when it comes to exercise. It's like, look, you don't need a personal trainer. You need to get your ass out of your house and go and exercise. Yeah. You don't need, you do yoga, Tai Chi, 5 years, you need an instructor. Okay, great. But after a certain amount of time, you need to take responsibility and do the exercise yourself. And that's how I'm looking at it, really.
I think that's really smart. I think that's really smart. I think that we live today in a world of kind of needing instant gratification because we're so used to it. What's the answer to this question? Well, I'll get on my phone and I'll look it up, and it's right there. I mean, I don't know how pub trivia can even possibly exist anymore because the answer is right there. But, we have to get out of that mode of just instant gratification and just, keep the eye on the prize and just do kind of the minimum, not the minimum, do what you can do, the best that you can do. And you, like you said, you will build up to that. You will build up to doing those push-ups.
That's it, and you just get more. And I think for me, the other thing is to realize that our subconscious brain is usually working on things. So sometimes taking that time out, say, we've done this a lot in the last couple of weeks, is go, do you know what, we're not going to be productive right now because we're not. Because I can tell we're not, because we've lost our focus, and we'd be much better off moving to either do another activity or let's just go for a walk. To, like I say, together. I mean, one of us is in Croatia, one of us is in the UK, but simultaneously, let's switch to headphones and let's just brainstorm. Because when we come back, we'll have the answer. But sometimes when you just sit here going, I'm not moving until I get the answer, I'm not moving. Actually, all you really do is frustrate yourself, frustrate each other, and you don't move forward. So, for me, sometimes it's about being able to give yourself that permission to go, I'm going to trust that my subconscious brain is working on this. And I think psychologists sometimes call it passionately procrastinating. And it's the fact that, our thinking brain, we think that does all the work, and actually it doesn't. It's our subconscious brain that does. So we'll all have those moments, won't we, where we've turned upon our drive. And if we're really honest, we can't really remember exactly what the last 5 minutes look like, because our subconscious kicked in and kept us safe, because we know the route to nursery, and you kind of get in there. But that is how our brains work. Our subconscious has our back. So sometimes when you get really stuck with a problem, it's about being able to say, sitting here and forcing myself to come up with an answer isn't going to help. Actually, I'm going to come up with an answer, but right now I'm going to go and distract myself by doing something else and trust that my subconscious is still working on it because it knows it's important to me. And there's a trick which I promise works, albeit it's going to make me sound like even more of a crazy person than I already am, which is that if you've got a problem that you're really stuck with, you should write it down as a question to yourself. And you write it in a notebook as a question, and you close the notebook and you put it on the shelf and you walk away, and you trust that your subconscious brain is dealing with it. And you come back and the theory and the research shows it's anywhere between 5 and 9 days. So you come back between 5 and 9 days, you look at it and you read it out to yourself as a question, and your subconscious brain will give you the answer. And you're kind of there thinking, I could have sat and sweated about that for days and days and days and not got anywhere. And actually what I did was focus on something else instead. I still got where I wanted to go at the end of it. So if you're ever really stuck, try it as a mindset hack. I promise it works.
Yeah, that's a good one. But I think also sometimes you need to juggle things around a bit, right? Like you might think, oh, well, this is my top priority and I have to get this done. And how am I going to do it? But actually your subconscious knows that you need to drop it and move on to something else. And like that's the entrepreneur's mindset, right? In many ways is you need to see that opportunity and say, well, okay, so if this opportunity over here, right, is bigger than the one that I'm working on, and this one's going to take me just as much work as this one, then why don't I just park that for a little while until the timing is right, and then go to the other idea, which is actually going to then help you to do the first thing that you were trying to achieve in the first place. Right. And that's something that in the beginning is really hard, like to actually let go and say, okay, I trust that, God or whatever you believe in is going to guide me in the right direction. And my subconscious is intelligent enough, connected enough to make that kind of happen. Right. And that's a really tough kind of thing, like to let go, but also remain in control is a very difficult thing. And that's something I've been kind of learning since I've been working with Kim on what my priorities actually really are, and that's a tough one, really.
That's interesting. So it's kind of like intentional ADD.
Yeah. You could
that's one of my problems is I'll be focusing on something and then I'll want to do something else and then I want to go back to something else. And
yeah, that's a difficult one. I think you probably need someone to work with who help, like someone who will help you to stay focused on the job on the task in hand, right? Without becoming distracted. I think also like looking down from the big picture and saying, well, okay, so we want to launch this product. We want to do this, and this, but actually, how are we gonna achieve it? What needs to happen in what order? And this is a big thing. I find sometimes I kind of get a bit lost with the enjoyment of things, but then the reality of, well, what's important? If you want to launch on such and such a date, what do you have to do to make that happen, right? And staying away from distractions, being mindful of your time, and actually saying, well, I'd like to help you, but I'm afraid I just don't have the bandwidth right now. It's probably a really, really useful thing to learn, actually.
It's really only been this year that I've been able to do that. Because, I want to do everything and I want to help everybody, but that's just not realistic at all.
And it's hard though, isn't it? If that's your driver, because I'm definitely in the same space. I feel awful if I have to say, really sorry, I can't right now. I can do it later, but I can't do it right now. And that's been a real shift for me. But one of the things that I've learned over the years is if you start with the end in mind, it helps. Because I think, again, there's an old adage that says, the obstacles are the things you see when you take your eye off the goal. And when we start from where we are, we see all the reasons why we're not going to achieve what it is we want to achieve, because we see all the things that get in our way. Whereas if we start ourselves psychologically from where we want to be and what it looks, sounds, tastes, touches when we achieve that, then actually we can work back and say, so what did I do? So I'm here, I'm at the top of the mountain. What steps did I take? Because often that can really help us.
Yeah, very much so. That's interesting. For launching a product, I'm not sure who you are, I'm afraid, because I was just trying to look on my phone to see who was actually posting a comment. It's just really annoying. But for launching a product, I've derived a detailed checklist which incorporates all the deliverables required. Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant.
Exactly.
It's brilliant.
But the thing is that I agree completely with that. Yeah. But obviously things are going to come along the way that are going to derail that. They're going to derail, you know, your plan. Right. And that's where being flexible comes in. And I'm kind of, I'm learning about all of this, you know, every day, right? Every day is a school day. Yeah. Really.
You are like herding frogs, my love.
Sometimes, yeah, but it's really hard, like, because it's Raoul. Nice one, Raoul. Thank you for letting me know who you were. Yeah, but it's really hard when you've got something massively important that you actually want to do, and you've got multiple elements of that. It's like, well, then it's working out, well, actually, what is the top priority? And some people say this, and some people say that, and that's the thing, is about gathering the evidence, right, in your mind of, well, actually, what really is important there? Like that's something that I'm willing to say, hold on, sometimes I'm wrong on this, you know?
That's great. I mean, you have to have that flexibility. And when you're setting goals, whether it's work, whether it's exercise, whether it's, you know, daily living habits, the goal has to be measurable. You can't say, I want to be the best Tai Chi master in the world. Well, you can't really measure that. That's very hard. But you can say, I want to be able to hold this pose for 10 minutes in, you know, 2 months or something like that. It has to be something you can measure, because otherwise you will never attain it. You will never attain being the best Tai Chi master in the world, because that's not really something you can measure. And in your mind, it's something that's maybe romanticized to be something that it actually isn't. I think that's important.
Yeah, but also in terms of exercise, right? And actually, probably you could apply this to business as well, thinking about it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If you try and overload yourself today, yeah, and you because, like, there's a lot of thing, like in when you're working out, right? People are like, oh well, you must be able to, like, max out, yeah, and like do your maximum reps, yeah, right, and all this. And I actually watched a video about that a few weeks ago, and the guy was actually saying that if you add it up, right, say you don't max out your exercise and you leave yourself with a little bit of kind of recovery space because you haven't killed yourself, then you can basically train the next day, and you can train the next day and the next day and the next day. You can train every freaking day, right? Whereas this guy here, he's going to go to the park and he's going to try and do 20 pull-ups, yeah? But actually, he's done less pull-ups than you in a month, because you go to the park every day. You might do 3 pull-ups the first week every day, right? Then the next week you do 4, yeah? But no. He decided he's going to do 20 pull-ups, yeah? And he's killed himself for a week because his arms hurt, right? And over years and years of this, and that's the same Tai Chi, right? I've been trying to hold these 2 postures, right, for years. I've been trying to hold them for more than like 7 minutes for these postures. Yeah.
This one?
No, I can't show this posture on
this one. They're hard.
Closed school thing, right?
Yeah.
But we have this pose in Tai Chi that you hold, and it's so painful that actually, to build up over years and years, you might eventually get to be able to do like 10 minutes or something, maybe, if you're lucky, yeah? But actually, that's probably completely unrealistic, because actually, if you try and do that, like, you can hardly walk. Like, it's really that hard, yeah?
I think I'll let you do that. I'm going to start taking Dance with Kim. Can I join your dance sessions?
Of course you can, my darling. Honestly, it's brilliant. It's this app we found, and it's between 12 and 15 minutes every day. So there's no real excuse for me to not do it. And it's a real balance. So it's got, like, you know, salsa and reggae and jazz and things in. So you can't get bored either. I mean, I look ridiculous. I know I look ridiculous.
Oh, I guarantee I look more ridiculous.
I get the feet going, and then the arms have to go in, and then the arms go in, the legs go in the wrong direction. But you know what? The only people there are me and my little girl. And it's like, does it really matter? I'm doing it. I'm getting it done. We're having a whale of a time. Whilst we do it, she's learning that actually it's good to do a little bit of exercise every day. which, is great to be teaching her as well. And I then get to be really justified that says I did some exercise first thing, so I've earned this biscuit. It's like, you allowed it. And I enjoy it so much more versus I've had the biscuit and then I've got to think about the exercise I'm going to have to do to repay it. So I guess it's just really helped me shift that viewpoint. And it's lovely to do things with my little one who just has such a joy for life that you can't help but be inspired to do the same. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? You look at children and they have got such a joy for life, and they don't think these things through, do they? It's in their head, it's coming straight out their mouth, and they're just gonna do it. And you think, actually, we need to tap into some of that. I know we have to be able to also balance that with our responsibilities and the things that we need, but I think tapping back into our child mind could be a real opportunity for us to leapfrog our future.
Very much so. And then leading into changing habits, right? Like all of these things that we've been talking about basically assist us in changing habits, because to start with, it takes some work, right? You don't think like people wake up one day and they're doing like 3 hours exercise a day or 1 hour exercise or half hour. Like they're just not, right? So you need to just start where you're at and just keep taking action like every day and find things that you enjoy doing, right? Like, because that's what children do, right? They find things they enjoy, right? And like I like toys and stuff, right? So I go and buy these training aids, yeah? Like I've got like a skipping rope, I need to get that out of the cupboard, and like, some weights I can punch with, and like all these different things that mix it up because I get bored easy. Maybe I have ADHD. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think everyone has a bit of ADHD. Seriously,
maybe.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing, is it? I think it's about embracing it and saying, sometimes I have my best ideas when I'm being massively dysfunctional. As I know, bless you, that because
what are you saying about working with me? How rude.
I was meaning more the other way around, where you're just like, what is she on now? She just needs to like calm herself down. Or those moments where you just go, I see the spot where you just blew somebody's brain. Yeah,
you do that.
Crammed too many ideas into one conversation. But I think sometimes we've got to do that, and that is that is tapping into my ADHD, because I'll chat to somebody like, and we could do this, and we could do this, and we could do this. I'm like a really bad Blue Peter presenting. It's like the one I did earlier. Because you just get excited about kind of pulling it all together, don't you?
Oh yes, yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah. Well, look, thank you both. It's been really, really interesting, and Tyler, really nice to see you.
Always a delight, Melanie.
Always. I love joining you guys.
Thank you.
I have a great time and I learned so much, and I'm going to start dancing with Kim.
Okay, probably a good idea. And thanks to everyone who's picked this up, and we really appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.